I know it's not me. That's all
I
I
think
know.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Julia.
Pretty sure it's me. Okay, me. I love this book. 5 stars for me. I thought it was so interesting, and I really, really loved the main character. And I feel like for somebody who had, like, no emotions, I feel like it was a really emotional character in its own way, shape, or form. I really loved his relationship with Gong. I think that is very telling to a lot of relationships and a lot of people that are don't get me wrong, there's fucking pieces of shit people out there, like, undoubtedly. But I think some people are really misunderstood, and Gong was very much so that. Um, and I love to see the progression of him and how he kind of, like, changed in the end. Like, he was a good person. He was just not loved. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of times people who are not loved, and there's actually studies done, especially with children in foster care, where they end up like that because they don't grow up with love, or they don't grow up with like they grow up in a system that's like, not good. I can't think of words right now. So I don't know. I just really love Gong. I loved Gong. I love the progression of Gong. I loved his relationship with, I don't even know the main character's name. For some reason, it's Sun Lee in my head. And yeah, Dora was a really interesting. She was like a really interesting addition. And then I thought to myself, like, how weird does Dora have to be to like him? Do you know what I mean? Because like you got to be a weird girl, like a weird guy. Like there's no way around that. Um, and the ending was just amazing to know. One, even without motion, like he knew to
Oh, we lost you. Hold on. If you can hear us, pause for a second.
Oh no.
and
Oh,
We
she
lost
oh
maybe like
no,
7 or 8 seconds.
oh
rewind.
fuck, what was the last thing I said?
Uh,
We were talking about Dora, her being weird.
so it was like just after that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I loved the end. I loved how he was willing to sacrifice. They were both willing to sacrifice themselves for each other. I thought that was just really just moving, and I loved that his mom came back in the end. That should made me smile. Like that should really made me smile. I was so happy to see that his mom woke up. Um, and it was just interesting to see like even somebody without any emotions or any kind of ability to understand what's going on built this kind of very small community around him, and I loved seeing that and I loved hearing that. I will say the butterfly scene I did not like. I would like I actually think I should not get a star for that. I gave it 5 stars, but I think I'm gonna not get a star for the fucking, because anyway, all in all,
Wow.
I love the book. I loved the characters. um I think it's a tale as old as time, but I really loved the way it was written and stuff like that. I will also say, and I feel like this is something that we've kind of talked about too. We need to start reading more like translated books. Like I feel like they're better in some way, shape, or form. This is like one of those ones where I don't feel like if it was an American author, was like it would have come off as well as it did. But because it was like a translated book, I don't know. I just feel like it hit different in some way. I don't know. Anyways, that's just like my theory. Every translated book that we've read, we really have enjoyed. So I don't know if maybe I don't know. I don't know what I'm fucking saying. Anyways, I'm done.
Okay. Should you want to go or should I?
I can go.
Okay.
For me, this book kind of read like a K drama, and
But
so
no.
when I
Mm.
say K drama, I don't mean the early 2000s K drama because those were like really cringy, but I'm talking about the K dramas that come out now. And there's a joke that says K dramas are no longer K dramas, they are K traumas because they are traumatizing. And the thing with these newer K dramas is that they're so complex and their characters have so much depth to it. And to me, it felt like that this entire book. It was such a good story. Like Julia said, even though this guy could not feel emotions, we felt all of them on behalf of them.
Mhm.
So it was
Yeah.
so good. I'm also gonna rate this 5 stars because I really enjoyed it.
I
But
love this book, and
yeah, I
go
did
ahead,
not
sorry.
like the butterfly scene, but
Yeah,
also
fuck no.
in retrospect, it made sense. Like, if you don't feel anything to a helpless creature, like, you really don't have any emotions. Like, Gon, while he was doing it, he was crying and he couldn't stand it. But the main character, he did not feel a thing. And that was really interesting. I like this book a lot. 5 stars. I kept my review short because I know Darren has to leave.
Dang.
Okay, sorry. Manel had the words that I was looking for. There was a lot of depth and complexity to the characters, which I sometimes feel like we don't get in books nowadays. I feel like
Yeah.
everything's really superficial, and even though it was a short story and like it was a literally a story based on like somebody not having emotion, there was so much depth to it. There was so much emotion in
Yeah.
every single character. Like the way his mom constantly fought for him and did everything for him and always helped him and trained him. His grandma, Mr. Shin, like everybody, you know what I mean? Like every single character was very complex in their own way and just brought so much to the book, and that's why I loved it. Like there wasn't, you know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah. And do you note about the translated books? That's a good point because I feel like, especially these East Asian authors, they tend to take very mundane topics, but they create so much complexity around it. So it's really interesting because a lot of books that we get over here, it's very big. Like the world buildings and stuff are like huge. But also, when you think of the characters, they're not very complex. I mean, there are some characters who are complex, but to take something so mundane and just blow it up and have so much depth, it's like so interesting. Julia, you should read Sweet Bean Paste. I think you'll
Okay,
like
I will.
that.
I
Hmm.
think I've heard of
And to
that
like and
actually.
a little bit more about like what Manel was just saying too. I feel like for whatever reason, these translated books evoke way more emotion out of you than the books that we normally read. And I don't know if maybe it's because these are like American authors and we have these like American idealistic ways of how relationships work and like societal, you know, norms and stuff like that. But I just like I feel so much more emotion with like much less fluff from these other books that we've read, and that's why I really enjoyed it.
Okay, I think it's my turn.
Yeah.
Let's see. I for the most part agree with you guys. I liked I really liked I loved the way this book was written. I especially love the way the main character was written. I liked I liked his lack of emotions. I think there's like a lot of there's like a big part of that that I can kind of like relate to because I remember like for a little while like I like questioned if I had like something wrong with me too, just because I can be like so stoic. But so like I liked being in his head. I liked how like I guess kind of like funny he was without trying. I also liked the characters in general and his relationships with those characters, the mom, the grandma, Gon, and Dora.
Mhm.
So for me, I'm like with the way it was written, language used, character development, it's like writing a 5 star. I'm also going to deduct. I just don't know how many I'm going to deduct because I basically just think that the plot kind of sucked. Like and the thing is like I kind of wish that, well, no, I don't know if I wish this because that sounds weird too, but like for the most part there just sort of like was no plot, right? There was not that much happening throughout most of it because it's just sort of like him being in a bookstore that the whole time. And the couple of times the plot does happen, I thought it was just sort of like really like random and sort of like what the hell, like his parent, like his mom and his grandma getting murdered on Christmas Eve. um I don't know, like uh that comes off as like shock value for the sake of shock value instead of just like making any kind of like remote sense. And then because it was so random, I sort of like questioned like what would really like happen to him with something like that. But that's sort of like besides the point. And then it went back to like really nothing happening and it's pretty much just like him in school. It almost reminded me of playing like a lot of like simulator games are like this where like when you're waiting to move forward the main plot, you're just doing side quests. You're just like waking up and going through the dailies and like not that much is happening. You're just sort of like building relationships and build and character building, and I like that part too. And then for me, when the plot took off again at the end, I was just like, this is, I don't know, I thought it was just stupid. Like I don't get why they were in like a torture chamber by a guy named Steelwire. I don't understand that at all. Um, I don't understand that at all. I think it like to me it almost is like the author wanted to get him into a scenario where he could like stand up for someone and save their and like sacrifice himself for it, but like the way that he got there, like to me, like just didn't really make any sense. And I know at the very least steel wire, that
Feel
probably
bad.
makes a little bit more sense in Korean or something like that, so I'm gonna forgive like the name. It's like it's making me laugh because it's slightly making me think of all those like ridiculous names on the first Zoe book. That you might as well slot it in steel wire and it would have fit right in with those. But I know they introduced him at least, or they mentioned him because Goen said that he was like a bad dude, but I still just kind of like thought that it was like dumb, and so uh, really love the characters, love the writing, didn't like the plot, and I haven't decided where that math leads me, but I overall thoroughly enjoyed this book, and I also just I greatly appreciated the fact that there was no fluff. It was just straightforward, really good ride while you were there. I do feel like the ideas in this, if like it was given to an American author, they would have like doubled it and not in a good way, or like doubled the size of it, the length of it, you know. And so this felt like it was like the appropriate length for the subject matter. Uh, yeah, I think
Um,
that's about where I'm at. Oh, that's random.
to
Hmm.
to your note about the lack of plot, that's not such a uncommon thing with most of their content because like it's so rich in other ways that not having a plot kind of, you can forgive that part of it. Like there's this book called Convenience Store Woman, and it's literally about a woman working in a convenience store, and it's such a good book. There is no plot whatsoever, like absolutely no plot. She just works at a convenience store, and it's just her
Wait,
observation.
give me 2 seconds. I think something
Oh
might be wrong
no.
with hold on, hold on.
Uh-oh. Cannot hear you.
I think that's on purpose.
Oh,
I don't know if this is serious or not, so I don't wanna, like I have to look up what the definition of plot is, because to me, the plot was their relationship, like, the building of their relationship, right? To me, the plot was all of the like, yeah, it was just in the bookstore, and yeah, it was just him at school, but to me, the
yeah.
plot was everything in between, so I don't know, maybe my definition of plot or, like, my understanding of plot is different, but that
And
was that was the plot to me, so I was like, "Oh, I don't know."
I think we
Um,
got really spoiled too with
l-
plots. Like we want something like to blow our minds.
Yeah, and, like,
Ladonna's fine by the way. Everything's cool. She was just
oh, okay,
locked
cool.
out. That's why she was calling me a few times.
Oh no.
Yeah, which like that sucks. But I thought when because like she knew that I was doing this, and for her to call a couple of times, that's like I feel like something could have been like wrong, but wouldn't have been.
Is she in? Did she get him? She's late today.
Yeah, I think just traffic, and I
Oh.
noticed she was like lingering around work for a while. I'm not really sure. Anyways, I forgot where we were. Manel was
Oh,
saying
we were just
something.
talking about plot.
Oh yeah, yeah. I sort of kind of just wish that it remained in the low plot status because I don't think that it needed much plot because the whole point of this book to me was just the character studies, and that's the part that was like the best, just them interacting with each other. Uh,
Wait, so do you think the zombie book had any plot?
um, let's see. Yes, yes. Each of them had
Yeah.
like incredible
Their
amounts of
own?
plot just built. Yeah, like each of those short stories probably had more plot than this whole book, but not necessarily in a bad way because plot is just like one thing leading to another, right? And
Mhm,
yeah, I Zombie had that in spades.
mhm.
And like and I totally think that this like because what was that book Anxious People, did we read that together? Oh gosh, this isn't like I'm
Yeah,
not mixing.
Yeah.
Okay,
by the
that
Beckman.
Yeah, to me, like that one also like it lacked plot, but it was just supposed to be like focused on the people basically. Like that was sort of
Yeah.
like the point of it, you know, like locking people in a room together and seeing what happens. There's no like plot there, but it's just character development, and
Mm.
it can
I
totally make
wonder
a good
as
story.
I wonder if and to that point, I wonder, and Manel would be our resident on this because she's read at least more than me. I wonder as we get into like this different genre, is there less plot and is it all character development? And like is that your definition of plot? Like what is the definition of plot?
I'm gonna look it up because now I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it's just like the actual like story moving forward. It's like acts happening and progression. Yeah, define plot. Good call. Uh, uh, there we go. Main events of a story devised and presented by the writer as an interrelated sequence. So like whenever you say like plot development or the plot moving forward, that's the idea. It's that's it's like you can easily put like a timeline on it. Whereas when you think about
So
like yeah,
so like so to you the progression of their relationship wasn't plot.
no, not really.
What would
But
you call that?
character development. I
But what if
because
it's like inter characters?
I guess
Like
because
character development is like to me is individual. So like relation I don't know. I'm just confused. I'm like you're making me
yeah,
read it like
no,
my definition of plot.
what you're saying makes sense, and I mean like we can say that right now there is plot happening because we can plot out the fact that these lights are like changing like this over and over, and we're talking, and you can like plot that out. But if you like zoom out to like a macro scale, what's happening? Three people are talking, and that's it. But what we're saying matters. But I think from like a reasonable perspective, you'd say that like there's no plot happening right now between us, but we're developing each other's characters, I guess. And so like Gon stopping by after school to the bookstore every day for like a few months is like a character development time. It's not really like a plot time, even though technically like yeah, time is passing and you can say like, you know, he bought this porn novel and that was one thing that happened, and then a week later he bought this porn novel and that's like the next thing in plot. That's not really how you'd like describe it in like a story or a movie. Like normally it's more like there's no like there's no like big checkpoints, I guess, or what's the word? Well, checkpoints a gaming term, but there's no better word in there for it.
Fuck.
Mm.
Okay, good to know. Oh shit, sorry, I got a stitch in my side. Fuck. Um oh well, okay, that makes sense. I was just curious. I'm gonna have to do a deep dive on this. I'm gonna have to go look up
Like think on it.
a
I
writing
mean,
a
yeah,
writing no, like a
you're
writing
making me
course
kind
and like
of yeah, you're
how it
making me
works.
kind of
I'm
think of
so
it
curious
too.
now.
Yeah.
Because I know there's always 3 parts to a story, and I can't remember, like, in school what they were telling you, but, like, obviously character development, plot, beginning, story, and end, and protagonist and antagonist. So I'm curious if plot to you is, like, there's no plot, what is the rest of it? It's not fluff, right? Because that's just something that we say,
No.
but what is it?
Right.
Is, like, character development, like, part of the story, if that makes sense? I don't know. Anyways, it's just, like, my way of thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, but I think there's just like a reason why anytime you look up like the review of anything, you have people talking about plot and character development as different things. Because I think that they should be. Even though if you like get weird about it and you think about it, like they are obviously related. Because like that like the development of that character and what that person's learning is kind of plot, like him starting to feel stuff, for instance, obviously like with like Dora and Gon and everything, you can like chart that out. But uh sequence of events, it doesn't really sound like that so much. Do you know what I mean?
But even
Yes.
if the plot is like thin, like the author did a good job of kind of diving into like the psyche of the side characters. Like, for example, his grandma, who wanted her daughter to be a writer, and she worked so hard towards doing that. I mean, helping her, but she decided, no, I don't want to do that. And even Dr. Shim, who was a doctor, but the moment his wife died, he said, no, I'm going to start baking bread now. Like,
Right.
the way that he kind of wrote about the side characters was a bit more. So it
And the
was
way
like,
those things were revealed was like beautiful. It wasn't just
yeah,
like
exactly.
like exposition at some point. It was like
Yeah,
slowly little
yeah,
details coming up, and you had to kind of piece it
yeah,
together in your own mind. Yeah, it was really good.
yeah. And that's another thing they do with like K dramas too. They kind of like start revealing these little characteristics about all the side characters, and you never think that, oh my gosh, yeah, and then you start feeling sorry for them, and then you think, oh, that's so cute. But yeah, so because it had all these other elements, I don't really mind the fact that it didn't have a plot per se. It was just a good, there's a saying, it's a slice of life sort of um
I
novel.
like that.
So for me, it felt like that. Like, I just read a slice of life about this person's life, and I'm okay with that. I'm so happy. It was not comforting, but it was just good, really good. I just learned so much about that character and the side characters and his condition. So yeah, I can
Yeah,
forgive the no plot.
even during
Um,
the times of like no plot, pretty much at no point was I bored, because those were like
yeah.
the best parts of the story. Basically, just learning more about him, just
Hmm.
existing in the guy's mind was probably like the most interesting thing about the entire book.
Yeah.
And then it may seeing from his mind into these other characters was so fascinating, because you might like each of these characters might not have been as fascinating as they were without being in the perspective of the main character. That was like, it was like
Yeah.
super cool. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Alrighty. Any other big thoughts?
No, just Manel recommend me a K drama now.
A
Hmm.
K drama?
Yeah, that I
There's
can watch.
lots.
Ooh.
It's a dangerous road.
The thing is, you kind of had to get seasoned into it, because when you watch your first K drama and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so weird. But when you're like on your 10th K drama, you know the words, you know, like the stuff they eat, you know, the soju brands that they prefer, and then you're kind of seasoned. So it's okay. I want to
Seasoned.
recommend Mr. Plankton to you. Sometimes
Where
the
is
way
that
they
at?
act is like so out there, you might think it's like overreacting, overacting, but that's how they are, even in like real life. So, yeah, Mr. Plankton is good. I really like that one. I'm watching it right now too.
Where is it on? Netflix
It's on,
or where?
yeah, it's on Netflix.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it
Ooh,
tonight. Thank you.
there's also Bloodhounds. I really like Bloodhounds, but yeah, that was really
Text it to
good.
me so I don't forget. Text it to the chat.
I know. Okay.
Okay.
I've only the only K dramas I have watched are the old school ones. So I'm curious
That's the ones
to
I've watched too.
yeah,
I
I'm
used to
curious to
read a
know
lot of
what you mean
anime
by like the
though.
more modern ones. I'll have to dive into one soon.
So
Tight.
What
exciting.
the fuck is that noise? All right.
Be the
Is the audio up for the wedding people
yes.
or whatever? Okay,
Yes.
cool.
I threw it up maybe like I don't know, like an hour ago. Yeah, it's ready.
I'm dying
And I
laugh.
put the EPUB out.
I got the EPUB. I am dying of laughter because I went into Goodreads to mark it as read, and it said Rebecca just added this to her want to read.
I saw that. Oh my
Really?
god,
Yeah,
that was
Awesome.
funny.
I know. I was like, oh,